Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis. And now, the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders! Today, we've got lots of stuff going on. Matt, John, and Dan here with me in the studio. How's it going, fellas?
Oh, it's going just dandy.
I still hate Han, but we'll talk about that a little later.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to see you too, Dan. But we do have some things to talk about. We've had the RRG changes now for a week, so we're all doing some lists. Dan's got some playtime in with it. We're going to be joined later in the program with Keegan, who's going to be recounting his experiences at SoCal Open in the top 4. Plus, your standard news and all that kind of good stuff. John, didn't know if you were going to make it today, so I'm glad you were able to come in. This is back-to-back episodes. Well, we had a 3-week gap in there while we were out of town, so I feel like this is good. We're caught back up again.
Yeah, we're making up for lost time.
Yeah, and then next weekend we've got the Cantina event, so we're going to be able to get some games in there. So perfect.
Yeah, no, it's since the RRG is out, it's right now it's just road to LVO.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get as much practice as I
What's
can.
the count?
Yeah. Oh, what is the count?
Oh, well, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but 83 days.
83 days. Okay.
Yeah, and we have a little LVO news that we're going to go over a little bit later.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What's the episode number? What are we at today?
123.
1, 2, 3?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. That's pleasing.
Anyway.
Yeah. I love to count.
Yeah.
Also, the code for the lock on my luggage. So
Nice. There we go. So, but every time Matt flies out to the next event, we'll know how to get to his luggage.
yes, and you'll get my Yoda heart boxers and long johns that I always pack with me. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the news. What do we got? A little bit.
A little
What's
bit
up,
of
Dan?
news. Yeah, not a lot since we've had less of a break, but that Book of Boba Fett trailer.
Oh, it's so good.
And it was like the perfect trailer. It didn't leak or show anything. I mean, it feels like everything that was shown was like first or second episode at most.
It was
yeah.
titillating. It was
yes.
enticing. But it didn't give too much away. That's right. I'm playing a little hard to get there. I like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, other than that, which of course is awesome if you haven't seen it. Are you a Star Wars fan? No.
Oh, wow. Okay, geez,
Okay,
calm
yeah.
out. I wonder, actually, if there's people out there playing Legion that don't really care about Star Wars all that much, but they're like, no, it's a really good game. I just play it for the game.
It's a possibilty. It is a good game.
Who's this like Star Walker guy? I don't know.
But we're hopeful for more stuff to come out on the Disney Plus Day, and continuing the tradition of corporations making holidays.
Yeah,
Yeah, with Amazon.
Oh, like Amazon Prime Day with you.
Well, of course. I mean,
Hey, if I'm getting
know the
discounts,
story.
I'm cool with it.
yeah. I mean, you know the story of Prime Day of how Optimus gave his life.
He's the reason for the season.
Yes. But no, Disney Plus Day, November 12th. I mean, there's a lot of rumors circulating out there that we may get some either Obi-Wan or Andor stuff dropping then, but it'll probably just be more Book of Boba Fett stuff to play it safe.
I mean, that seems okay with me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I
That's
had for
it?
the Star Wars
Okay,
news.
well, there we
Yeah,
go.
I mean,
All right.
there's a lot of like speculation and like, oh, this is leaking that. But again, we don't do the moviepoopshoot.com stuff here, so.
I wonder if that's actually a site. I don't want to Google that, though.
I promise you it is. Like,
Oh, good. Good.
But like I said, 83 days to LVO.
Yeah.
Man,
You guys better get ready.
I have so many list options. I'm like, it's analysis paralysis. I have no idea what the heck I'm gonna run yet.
Well, that's fun. You've been trapped in the salt mine so long. You've got freedom now. Absolute terrible,
and I don't know what to do
horrifying
with it.
freedom. Yes.
well, it looks like you get a lot of practice games in.
Yeah. But speaking of LVO news, they just recently posted the team event has been expanded to now 64 teams, up from 32.
Wow.
So find a friend, because cool thing is you only need one ticket per team.
Yeah. Yay.
Or just
Yeah.
make a friend if you don't have
Or
any
make
friends.
a friend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
I'm
find
sure,
a friend
yeah.
on the day of. There's
yeah,
always friends looking for other friends.
Yeah, in worst case, head over to the LVO channel in Discord and shout out and say, hey, I'm looking for a partner. I want to play this faction, and I'm sure someone will pipe up in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you probably don't even need to know the game that well. There's always a stranger just waiting to be a friend that can touch you, teach you, teach you.
Wait, have we been doing it wrong this whole time?
I think so, maybe.
Other small bit of LVO news. They had an official quote on what is going to be legal at the event, and it'll tie a little bit more into some of the release dates that we're going to talk about a little bit in a bit.
Did they say that I will make it legal?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Quote, LVO Legion is going with the, quote, released in North America verbiage for this event. So as long as a unit has been released in North America before the event, it will be legal for LVO, and the event packet will be updated soon with exact details. Canada is North America.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you noticed that, but because this is a podcast, you didn't see it. But maple syrup just appeared in front of the table, and John with a big Canadian tuck beanie ball hat.
A toque?
The toque? That's it. That's
is that authentic beaver
else.
skin?
Yeah. A big old glass of Tim Hortons.
Oh,
yeah.
Instantly, a little thing of Timbits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dressed up like a
He's
Mountie.
ready to go.
I mean, to follow up with a previous question I had of what do Canadians eat during Canadian Thanksgiving, we actually got a lot of responses.
We
for
did.
that.
Yes. Thank
so-
you for that. I meant to mention that in the last episodes, but we had a lot of people reach out.
Yes,
Turns out it was a bunch of the stuff that we enjoy anyways.
Yeah. So I mean, we thank our Canadian brothers for our solidarity of Thanksgiving food. So
I wonder if the tradition extends further, though, but instead of watching football like we do, they watch hockey.
I mean, they should. It's a better sport.
Packers says what?
Golden Knights say what?
Okay, all right.
yeah,
I didn't
okay.
know. I thought.
We don't talk about the Packers right now with Aaron Rodgers being who he is, but that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, that's different.
So to cap that up, I mean, verbiage is pretty loose. I think we're gonna have Yoda and Wookiees legal. So if you're in America,
God.
I mean, they still said
I mean,
that-
assuming that they're able to take the Royal Mountie Express down here via Moose.
I mean, I hope so because I currently have some on the way via Moose
Oh, okay, good.
okay.
because I couldn't wait any longer.
No,
We'll
no,
get-
I think you've been exceptionally patient for something you've been grasping towards, reaching towards since they announced it.
I mean, it's really been the one thing I've wanted to run for quite a while is Yoda and Wookiees. Why can't I have Yoda and Wookiees? And then to see... sorry. Dan, I'll let you go ahead and announce the release dates first. And then I'll-
Yeah, then he can react.
Yeah.
Incoming hot take.
So AMG posted on their Twitter some updated release dates. So they said that on November 26th, the Fluttercraft and Super Tactical Droids will be coming out. And then with a follow-up tweet said on December 3rd, the Infantry Support Platform, Snail Tank, Spider Droid, and Magna Guards are going to be coming out. So yeah, all the CIS people are happy everything's coming.
And we got the Fluttercraft.
Well, okay, here's the thing I think is weird, first of all. If you went by order of the stuff that came out in Europe, or the original slated release dates, Yoda and the Wookiees were supposed to come out first, right? And that was the end of July, beginning of August. They were originally supposed to come out, all things, considered.
Right.
Then it was supposed to be the, what was it? The Magna Guard, right?
And the Super Tax.
And the Super Tag.
Yeah.
And then the Fluttercraft and the Snail Tank. And so it seems like everything's kind of been mixed up with the U.S. release.
Well, see, they load the container ship with the Yoda and the Wookiees went in first, so they were on the bottom of the container ship.
Okay.
And then the other containers got unstacked on
They're
top.
taking them out one box at a time.
Exactly, yeah. So they have to...
One Yoda. Two Yodas.
Either that or, it was on the first ship, and that ship, just had a little wave action, and maybe a container went overboard. I don't know.
Just dumped. I mean, who knows? That could very well be.
They didn't call this one water damage like they did with the Arcs, but we'll see.
I mean, pirates got a hold of the ship. I don't know. But, I mean, come on.
Look at me. I'm the Captain Rex now.
And the thing is, I put in an order for Yoda and the Wookiees, from England about 2 months ago until they revealed that they weren't going to be legal for LVO. And I already had, paid off a full pre-order from our local game store.
LVO or
I'm sorry, for
SoCal.
SoCal.
Yeah.
For SoCal. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to need it for SoCal. I'm not going to be able to use it for SoCal anyway, so I'll just cancel my order. I'm sticking with the order that I already have, paid in full from our local game store. And then now they reveal this for LVO. I'm like, well, at least I know that I can get it and it'll be playable. So
Yeah.
I may have 4 Yodas sitting around at some point.
That's fine.
Who knows,
I'll
but-
buy one of yours. It'll be fine.
I was about to say, and there's 2 per box, so
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'll
you
have
got
2
4
boxes
boxes.
and 4 Yodas.
So many
so
Wookiees.
you have your choice of all the sculpts, and then you have a third one or one remaining sculpt that you can just
I'm just gonna make some crazy Yodas.
yeah.
Let's get the Tauntaun Yoda. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, that's been your dream, Matt.
Yeah.
So I know.
Yeah.
So what about Yoda and the Wookiees? Well, there was one small update that unfortunately wasn't verbally or like posted on social media anywhere. The Yoda and Wookiee release date on the Asmodee store was silently upgraded. Or updated.
Yeah,
I
not
wouldn't say
upgraded.
great, no. March 31st, 2022.
Yeah, that was kind of what set me off. Like, never mind. I'm just ordering this from Canada because I'm not waiting until March of 2022.
And I'm assuming this is a placeholder date because I'm assuming they just went from, we can't make Q4, so let's do Q1 22. And
Yeah, the end of
that's the
Q1.
latest date of Q1 22. So.
Right.
I understand it's not an AMG thing. I know that this is Asmodee and shipping that have like gone into this, but I mean that's not a good look.
I might be reaching deep on this one. Far be it from me. But isn't this also the date that in Parks and Rec they scheduled all the appointments for because they didn't think it was a real day? Maybe they don't think March 31st is actually a real day.
That's a deep cut.
Oh, man.
Yes, that's true. April Ludgate, when she works as Ron Swanson's secretary, schedules all of his appointments for March 31st because she doesn't think it was a March 31st.
So hopefully there's a Yoda entry on that schedule.
Now, we go deep for references here, but that was deep.
I appreciate that.
That's
Okay,
a
good.
good one.
All right,
That's
looks
a
like
good-
we got one person.
good
All right,
reference.
that's good. Okay. But anyways, so we've got the RRG. We've got the points updates. Been looking at lists. I think all of us have kind of been. I mean, almost everybody that plays Legion has been on those army builders looking at things. Dan, you actually got a game in this
Yeah.
week with El Jefe.
Yeah. So
Which led to your initial opening salvo of Curse You Han, which has not been echoed through the halls of Legiondom in,
Right.
I don't know, probably over a couple of years now.
the Han Solo. Yeah. So our local game store does Star Wars nights every Thursday night, which I haven't been going to for a while. With between work and pandemic and all that jazz, but now
That's
that
usually a work day for you,
yeah, it is. But now that of course we got the RRG, we can start planning for LVO. I'm trying to make it a point to go to as many of them as I can just to get practice in because got to shake all that rust off.
Well, I know that you were talking about your list paralysis there. What did you actually take?
So I took because I'm just gonna go with what I know at this point, and I took a modified version of my Iden list. So I was Iden, Inferno Squad, 2 ISF, and I was mixing up the core options just to see. It was 2 Shores with T-21 and 2 Mortars, and a Stormtrooper Squad with a RT-97 and an Officer and Offensive Bush. Not Officer, I'm sorry, Captain Offensive Bush, and an Imperial Officer just to throw out some aims and to carry strict orders, which I totally forgot about the entire game.
I mean, that happens. New list, you
Yeah.
got a couple of different things you're not used to playing.
So Jeff was running an AA-5 and an X-34 land speeder
Oh, okay.
with Han and Chewie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
With 2 vets, with the heavy and an officer, 2 Mark IIs, and a naked Rebel Trooper squad, and then just a regular commander, just to go around and hand out dodges. So we pulled, if I remember correctly, it was limited viz, evaporators, and what was the last one? Dang it, I am blanking right now.
The deployment style?
The deployment style, yeah.
I'm going to go with battle lines.
No, it was a major offensive.
Oh, okay.
Major offensive. And of course, being infiltrate, I'm like, I'm just going to threaten all of his evaporators and set up for that awesome turn 1 tactical strike. Oh, wait, we had limited viz.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. But I actually did some quick measuring, and I'm like, wait a minute, if I just, double speed 1 move, I'll actually make it into range 2 on most of these things. So I figured, he deploys his stuff, puts Han in the AA-5 and Chewie in the land speeder. Interesting choice.
I would
that's-
go the other way around.
Yeah. So I figured, okay, he's going to keep Han in there to keep him safe to pop out later in the game and just mop up. So I'm just going to try and nuke this AA5. Well, what is his first activation? Hops Han out, runs forward with steady, and just puts 2 into Inferno Squad and just kills Saiyan right away.
Wow, we're going to call that the Han in the box maneuver.
Also, when I did play Tactical Strike first turn, he changed the plans did immediately, so I had to go.
So we got to get used to that again.
Yeah.
Well, people forget what Han does.
Yeah.
And, Han's running around with Pierce too. So if we see a resurgence of Red Armor saves, Han's a perfect counter to that.
Yeah.
Gunslinger and then now with Steady, you're probably dropping about four Death Troopers, 4 ISF, or 4 Stormtroopers every turn.
I know that was one list you were playing with, and I was thinking about that. It's like, oh yeah, Pierce, you had 4 Death Troopers plus a bunch of Stormtroopers. Like, yeah, how about that Pierce though?
So I did forget to mention we were both 799. We rolled off. I got blue player.
Okay.
So
were you playing with all the?
Oh yeah, we're playing with all the current
rules.
stuff.
Yep.
He chose table side. I
laid the 4 cards.
I laid the 4 cards out.
Yeah.
My biggest mistake that game was we always talk about turn 0. I think it was turn -1.
You didn't get clearance from your wife?
No. Well,
okay.
No, turn 0. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't realize. Oh wait, this is Vaporators. I'm blue player. Why don't I just sit back? Well, no. I'm like, infiltrate. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to be aggressive. Yeah, I didn't need to be. So my ISF were ripped up very quickly. And I left all my core in the backfield to just try and hold on, and it didn't work as well as I thought.
Yikes.
Yeah. I did try and push one of his side Vaporators with my ISF. He was guarding it with the naked Rebel Trooper squad. I'm like, I got this. I go into them. They have a standby. I'm like, I can shelter a shot from him. Nope. He runs up and melees them, just to hold them off of them.
Wow, nice. Yeah, that's a good move. Yeah.
And I posted a picture on the Facebook of all the other games played that night. We had 8 people show up, by the way.
Awesome. Nice.
On a Thursday night, which was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all but 3 players were running armor, but myself being one of them.
Okay.
But anyway, it ended up being the ISF, the Naked Rebel Trooper squad of a group of vets joined that melee, and then Chewbacca joined that melee after. There was a nice
Holy
picture
crap.
of all that. But those ISFs were holding on pretty well in melee.
Wow, all right.
But yeah, it ended up being tied on Vaporators. We went to kill points, which he had murdered more because he had killed a large portion of my special forces early in the game. So
nice. What do you think about the list? Would you make some changes? Do you think about checking out some of the other ones you've been playing with?
Like I said, it's list paralysis. I really want to get into armor.
Yeah.
Weiss is so beautiful.
Yeah. All of us have been, as I said, been spending time on the army builder list. I think we've all come up with some alternatives, at least some alternate options based on reductions and changes and things like that. For mine, because I'm not practicing for LVO at this point, my competitive season, quote unquote, is done. I do still want to. I want to start prepping for the theme lists, and I think. I know Hoth is going to be one of them. I think they mentioned that specifically, Hoth Defenders. So I went and changed things around where I had talked about like maybe making Wedge the commander. So that is one of the things I did. I feel like that is going to be a bad choice, but I'm going to try it anyways. Because, T-47s, they're hard to hide. They're flying up there. They're not exactly the most robust. But then again, maybe that will draw fire out of position and, open up opportunities for the rest of the list. I'm willing to give it a try. But keeping the double T-47s with Wedge as one of the commanders set of double hotshot pilots, dropping the Rebel officer, and instead going all Hoth Rebel veterans with captain upgrades on them, so I get Courage 2 throughout all the core forces to be able to allow them to operate outside of the realm, because the idea is keeping all the orders on the land speeders. That's what I used HQ uplink, because after the first round or two, unless I'm playing very conservative, they're out of range of orders anyways. So this puts the focus on them. Hopefully be able to min-max, really babysit what they're doing, pay attention to the board state and all that. The other big change I made was dropping the ATRTs, and I can actually fit in 2 units of Tauntauns now. So I got those on there with the, I think I had Tenacity and also Comms Jammer. I want to play around with Comms Jammer a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, veterans, and the captains, and then those other things I talked about. I think it could be fun.
But what about the 1.4D laser cannon?
I thought about that too, and I might make a change. This was another list I was just kind of like spitballing back and forth with Hefe earlier. Is like, what if you just played objectives? Like, you didn't worry about killing the opponent's army, and having those laser cannons, could set up denial zones to allow you to operate and grab objectives and do that kind of thing. I think it's kind of a kitschy way to play, but it could be a lot of fun just for like one-off games. And then using like an AA5 or 2 to like screen and protect your guys and slow down the enemies and them trying to get at your guys that are scoring objectives. Just to kind of force you. I mean, we say, all the time, objectives are what win you the game. You have 9 models left on the board like you had in one of your games, John, and that's what counts. But that's a build ethos I'm looking at. But I think it could be fun. I'm not sure if I want to take the T-47s to next weekend's event or maybe actually try that super, like, stay out of the way. Don't really worry about fighting anything, slow people down, maybe use saboteurs to throw out more area denial, that kind of stuff. But anyways, John?
Well, I think Sabs, just to comment that we were talking about, I think Sabs could be a really interesting way to play, going, with the points drops that we've seen. With low profile, with the changes to that, I think you might be able to get some play out some Sabs.
Could be fun, yeah. And then at the very least, maybe just because you're so tunnel focused on, okay, this is the objective, this is what I'm working towards, just to get in that mindset, not in T-47s, run around and blow things off the table. It doesn't always win you the game. It's fun to do, but it may not be the right strategic choice. Have you made any adjustments to what you were talking about with your Wooks?
Well, I mean, I've been talking about just running Rebels, the entire time I've been playing this game.
Yeah.
I've dabbled a couple times with some CIS lists, but I think, with Yoda coming out, I really, really want to try to get Yoda to work. So I'm still in the theory crafting stage because obviously I don't physically have Yoda here.
Right.
But some of the lists I've been looking at, I really want to try to make a Yoda Anakin list work.
Okay.
I think there's some play there. I think with Anakin having saber throw, and then Yoda having the guidance ability to basically give Anakin the free movement, and then of course with Anakin getting relentless, because one of his tactics cards gives him relentless permanently, right? I believe
so, yeah.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you've only played Anakin like once or twice.
I've never actually played.
Oh, you never actually played him.
Okay.
Anakin, you painted him.
I've painted him. Yes.
Okay.
But I believe one of his cards gives him relentless. If not, Yoda's 1 pip also gives a relentless to another. I'm sorry, his 2 pip gives relentless to another character. So having Anakin be able to move and then do his 3 red dice saber throw, there's some potential there. They can do some stuff anti-armor. I would also want to throw Wookiees in there because of who I am as a person.
Right. And know yourself.
So the 3 Wookiees, I want to try to do 2 of the Kashyyyk defenders with bowcaster, doing that sharpshooter, and then do 1 with the shield.
Okay.
Of the
you
standard
want to
Wookiee warriors.
give the shield a try, huh?
Yeah. Just to get some melee threat in there. I typically play aggressively with this, but I think Yoda doesn't necessarily want to play too aggressively. I think a lot of stuff he wants to do is kind of a support unit that also has the ability to tear some stuff up if he needs to.
Start flipping the hell out.
Yeah. So, I want to throw like Force Barrier on him, just to help support the Wookiees that are out there. I haven't really messed around with clones a whole lot, so I would probably want to try at least 1 clone squad kitted out with like an RPS or something like that, just for additional anti-armor, because we are still kind of in an armor meta.
Yep.
So I want to play with some of that. I do have, a couple boxes of barks that I haven't even put together or painted yet. 2 units of ARC troopers. So I have the stuff available to make a Republic army. I kind of want to try it out, cool, just to see how it works out. And If not, I still got my tried and true Rebel Wookiees I can fall back on.
Yeah, all reliable. But yeah, I'm excited to see you jump into Republic there, especially with the new fun stuff. Dan, pick, let's say, 3 of your top lists right now.
Ooh, okay. Let me bring my lead. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I'm still trying to get Weiss into it. My only question is what to put around him, whether I want a second ATSD or I really think we need a second threat in there.
Well, if you're asking me, yes.
Yes. Iden too, since Inferno Squad went so much cheaper, and Iden, of course, has been my boo since day one.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I know there's a lot of critical I can put in that list, but I'm not sure how well it will do with the heavier armor. And then lightsaber up in your face. I hate to drop an ISF for a Royal Guard, but I might have to, just to hedge against that melee.
So, have you thought at all about bringing Vader?
Yeah, I mean, pre-RRG, I did have an Iden Operative Vader list. Problem is the points increased to Vader really hedged everything out of that list. So I'm still trying to reformat, work around it. Again, there's too many options.
He's so much better now.
Oh, he is so much better now. Oh my god. Yeah, so he'll probably come around into one of my lists. But
well, I know a couple of our local guys are Vader honks, so
yes.
there's a good chance we'll see some burst of speed Vader on the table soon.
Yeah. So of the 8 players that showed up at the Thursday night event, 4 of them were Imperial.
Wow.
2 of them Republic, and then 1 CIS and 1 Rebel. Wow. So it was an interesting strata of players there.
Our local meta is just crazy.
Yeah, crazy. And both Republic players had sabers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so
I dig it.
It was weird.
This is why I had no practice against Rexstar. Nobody runs the meta.
I wonder if, no kidding. That's fine. I mean, they're engaging with their list. They're having some fun with it. But I'm excited to see Dan field a Vader at some point.
I might field a Vader before Dan.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, at least some form of Anakin. But spoilers. I like the idea of having the Royal Guard because they can do work on their own, but they are definitely really your I don't know what's the right term, running back in case somebody is sending a
linebacker.
Thank you. Okay.
Sports ball.
Yeah. Sending a saber at you, you're like, well, here you go. Have some Royal Guard to chew on for a while.
Well, I think that with the points reduction, because they had a little bit of a points reduction, right?
Yeah. I mean, their main unit was -6 and the heavy -4, so net -10.
Yeah,
which is a good amount.
That's a very good chunk. And people were complaining about the Magna Guard being a better version of the IRG. Well, now they're a cheaper version.
Yeah. Human life cheaper than droids.
It is.
But anyways, we got a lot of stuff to look at there. But we're going to take a short break and be back to talk with Keegan. Mr. Keegan Evans, who is going to recount his experiences at SoCal Open in the top 4. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, Matt here to tell you about our friends over at 6UP Supply. If you're like me and don't have access to your own 3D printers, 6UP Supply has you covered with a whole suite of printing services to bring those awesome files to life. The Outriders are proud to be partnered with 6UP, and you could find special themed terrain, gear, and tokens with a big discount for Patreon members in the Outrider Central section of the website. And that's not all. You can also get terrain bases, game supplies, tools, LED kits, and more. Stuff is being added all the time. So stop by the number 6upsupply.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER to save 10% on your next order, and let them help you up your game.
You are receiving the Legion Outriders podcast. Ending the transmission now would be most unfortunate. And now, the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders! Matt and John here, and we are joined by our special guest. Do we have an official title yet for you, Keegan?
I don't think so. I'm sure.
Would you like to invent one?
I think he's best friend of the show.
Yeah, I thought that was LJ.
But LJ's kind of, he has to take like an impartial role now. So he's kind of like
at some point you guys had a romantic insinuation with LJ.
That's true. The one that got away or something like that. But anyways, it's our good friend Mitrokin Keegan Evans, hot off of his stunning successful run at the SoCal Open, Mr. Top 4 finisher, defeater of Outrider Matt in the first round, which I'd like to think got him in the right mindset. It's like, well, that was easy, so obviously, I'm really good at this game, and just cruised on through.
I mean, he's got to be one of like the faster rising people in the community, because I mean, when he started playing with us, I mean, he was on one of the lower tables against you in the first LVO, right?
Lowest table.
The lowest table.
Yes,
I think we were competing for last place.
Yes.
And look at him now; he's top 4.
Yeah. No, he's actually doing his homework and putting in his reps. So
that means there's hope for you, Matt.
Well, let's not go crazy, but maybe we can glean some of the secret sauce from Keegan here. And why don't you tell us about your overall experience with SoCal?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was awesome to. Well, first of all, it was so great to see you guys again back.
Hell
back
yeah!
And see everyone in person. But I was. It was just awesome to just see you all. This was the first big actual anything I've actually done in a year and a half. So it was a big deal on our end. I had a blast going down there, catching up with everyone, helping out with some of the streaming support on the technical side, and then just getting 5 great games in a weekend, which was just amazing. So,
wow, he did 5.
Yeah, he did 5 because he was qualified to do 5.
Wait, there's a second day?
I know, right? You and I wouldn't know that.
To be fair, I also explicitly had this weekend entirely to myself. I literally drove 10 hours away from my family to make no other plans for the weekend than Legion.
Wait, going alone was an option?
I was not aware of this.
Yeah. No, it was awesome to see you.
Yeah. It took a little bit of arranging. I did have to get a sitter all weekend and secretly convince my wife, who probably will never listen to this, to take her own personal trip up to Napa, just to solidify that this was an important weekend for us to get away and for me to go do whatever I wanted in San Diego.
It's amazing how quickly the weekends fly by when you're wine drunk in Napa.
Yes, that was. So a good plan, well executed, which arguably, I appreciate the thoughts and observations on my Legion career. It does. It was really cool. This was easily the first time. This was the first time I'd done this well by an order of magnitude or two. Prior to.
I think Keegan's actually also invented another phase of the game. You talk about turn 0 a lot, John. I think Keegan's won turn -1, arranging the family and everything.
Yeah.
The first step is getting to the games, but
it's a subgenre depending on your stage of life and your personal commitments. But yes, there is an entire turn -1 that has to be played, especially for tournament play.
But like you were saying, first of all, most of us, this is the first time we've been able to go to an event in a year and a half, and being able to see friends again who we've made through this community. I think that alone, regardless, I could have gone 0-3, and that would have been enough for me to feel 100%, fulfilled.
100%. And I actually came down there thinking somewhat the same way. Not at a minimum, I was just looking to get down there and have a great time, play Legion, see some people in person that I have really only had as internet friends for a little too long.
But when we all got together, we all started talking and saying hi, introducing each other, whatever. The natural first conversation usually comes up is well, what are you bringing? And when you told us what you were bringing, I know I mentioned a little bit on our last podcast, I was both shocked and really intrigued. I'm like, okay, Keegan's a smart guy. I feel like even though this is something that these are non 6 months ago to said, hey, I'm bringing Bark, Speeders, and Anakin to an event, people are gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, and they do.
And well, nobody's laughing when you're sitting in top 4 though.
Yeah. So I there was a couple things that went into that. One, for a lot of my Legion career, probably air quotes, or viable there. I have been known to myself and others as something of a heavy jank player. I played Jin Pathfinders from the day they were released for a solid year plus, well into the last LVO, and I really like made my kind of my games about playing these things. They weren't meta. I didn't want to try, go deep into the meta and play that stuff. I wanted to try things that were interesting to me, and I had a lot of fun doing that. One of the kind of things that, as I got ready for this tournament, actually this latest Invader League season, and then subsequently this tournament, was I didn't want to lose that part of me. I still liked. I didn't want to like steer into a heavy meta list, but I did come to start asking myself, hey, is there a part of me that is playing these lists at competitive events and staying away from the obvious choices because I don't want to know if I'm actually good enough?
Wow, a lot of self-introspection there.
Yeah,
but from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong here, jank players, it's all about that one time that the list does everything exactly right the way you planned it. And then you're constantly just chasing that high afterwards.
Yeah. And my Jin Pathfinders list, that's 100% what happened. I had one game early on where I did an opening alpha strike with Pathfinders, and I one-shot Bosk off the table in heavy cover with
a heady experience.
Yeah, which was just like, oh wow, this is what cocaine feels like. I'm gonna keep doing this.
He said from no personal knowledge.
Yeah, right. So I was very much chasing that. And then I was thinking about, hey, so what do I want to do to actually be competitive? Do I want to actually try to win some events? And I decided I do, but I also wanted to do that without losing kind of like the stuff that was interesting for me. And so I'd never played Force Users. The last time I'd really played Force Users was the learning game. I played with a guy who doesn't play the game anymore, and we both forgot that Luke and Vader have immune pierce, so Luke died very fast.
That's rough.
So I wanted to give Force Users a try. I've always been a Rebels player. I wanted to try something a little different. I didn't want to play Luke. I felt Luke. I kind of understood what he did. There wasn't a whole lot of creativity, and Anakin definitely jumped out to me as, hey, this is a guy who gets kind of pooped on in the in the zeitgeist here. But I think that there's something there, and I love the thematic stuff he was doing. So I tried to do a list like this for a while with Anakin and Obi-Wan. I've dabbled with those, but I could never make that work. And with the rise of Bombing Run and the massive bids around that, I knew I wanted to, whatever I was going to do, if I was going to pretend to be competitive, I needed to have an answer for that kind of thing, and that's where the Barks came in.
So, how long ago did you really lay this list out?
I had a version of it in Invader League, round robin. I was playing around with it. It was let's see. I did not have Padme. It was Anakin, Clone Commander, R2, Triple Barks, and 4 maybe core. So it was up to 10 acts. Did okay. Didn't do what I wanted it to do. Definitely had some misplays in that. And it was after Invader League round robin when I got knocked out. I actually got a couple of in-person games locally as things started to open up. And the other realization I made was I think I just don't know how to play R2, and I don't want to learn.
No, that's fair. Absolutely.
So I dropped him out of the list, figured out how to put Padme in there. It dropped it to 9 activations, which was a little bit worrying, but I think that done right, clones could handle 9 activations. Mm-hmm. And then I used the extra like half a units of points to really build out the core. And made it really kind of a multifaceted fire support list.
So what is the actual list that you took?
Yeah. It's Anakin, Padme, Clone Commander at the top. It's 3 phase 1s, one of them with 5s, one of them with an RPS. I'll come back to the rest of his upgrades in a second, and one of them with a Z6. And then 3 Barks, 2 of them naked, one of them with an RPS. And the evolution of that RPS phase 1 has been a really cool thing. Because it started off, I just had a phase 1 with an RPS to get the impact, to get the range, to get the fire support, all that fun stuff. And then I was playing an Invader League game, and I realized that putting a standby on Anakin where that couldn't get shot off with an RPS really is a threat to an airspeeder who's coming in to just drop a bunch of dice on me. But airspeeders could still move into range 3 and shoot before the standby. So I actually added a clone captain and Overwatch onto that RPS squad so I create a range 3 impact 2 standby bubble with that squad as a kind of placeholder threat.
So were you anticipating like a heavy armor meta? I mean, especially with the airspeeders, the amount that we saw there.
Yeah, I think I was. I was looking at Lone Star. I was looking at what was going on in Invader. I knew that armor and speeders were something that I was going to have an answer for if I wanted to do well. So thinking about how to play in that space, but also respond to that space was definitely on my mind.
So what upgrades were you running on Anakin?
Anakin, I've got push and throw. Long ago, I love the idea of choke Anakin, but with the armor that you mentioned, throw and that 3 red dice with impact 2 pierce 3 impact 3 pierce 3 is just it's kind of essential, I think. I have offensive and defensive stance on him, and I don't think I've ever flipped it to offensive stance. It's all about getting the dodges on him. And finally, I have tenacity on him in the list that I ran in SoCal.
That sounds solid.
So who do you know at AMG, or who owes you money that you were able to get the inside scoop on the RRG? Because it seems like all of these things that you were playing got a big boost at the RRG.
Well, one advantage to playing historically, I don't think I've ever had an RRG come out with the list that I enjoy playing where I don't get points back pretty heavily. This wasn't as significant as some of my Jin Pathfinders lists. I think I immediately gained 25 to 30 points one RRG drop on a Jin Pathfinders list. Because I ran vets too back before they were good. So yeah, it's in a lot of ways I think it really is. There's once a year where it's a really big advantage to be playing around off meta, and that's when adjustments come out, because they're often going to kind of steer into what I'm already doing because a lot of other people aren't doing it.
I think we can call Keegan the Legion hipster, because he plays everything before it was cool.
He's so counterculture.
I am never coming on this cast again if you call me that.
Is that a craft brew you're enjoying there, buddy?
I have 5-year-old twins. It's a Keurig cup.
Oh, okay. That flannel you're wearing looks very soft, by the way.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Now we're taking advantage of the audio format. All right. Yeah. No. I appreciate the intent. Yeah. I've enjoyed this stuff, and there's I'm hardly alone in this. There's an entire Church of Biston now. Which I don't claim. I don't claim credit for, but when it becomes religious, maybe it's time for me to walk away.
But I know where you're coming from, though. Like I love to run Wookiees before Wookiees were ever good, and there was nothing better than showing up to a table with somebody who's a knowledgeable Legion player, and they look at your list and like, okay, I really don't know how to handle Wookiees. Like I've never played against Wookiees before. What am I going to do? And I know when you and I played at the RPQ here, you showed up with that Jin Pathfinders list with Han, and I'm like, there's a lot of interesting stuff in here that I don't really know how to handle.
Yeah, that was a great game because both of us came with that same mindset.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the most memorable games I've ever played. It was a great one.
Absolutely.
But
I love still running FD too.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's a cool mindset, and because when we're kind of in a wild west right now. I mean, there is, especially with the RRG. Yeah. I think we're at a place where everyone's still trying to figure out the in-person game. I think LVO hopefully will be in a good place where people will be back in playing in person again, and we'll be able to explore some of these lists that people haven't gotten to try out in person. I think that'll be cool. But I'm sorry you're not going to be playing at LVO.
Yeah, I'll tell you. after SoCal, I definitely had a moment of regret that I had signed up to staff. I enjoy staffing and supporting that event. I judged last year, or the last time we had one, and it was an absolute blast to help make that such a great event. The regular organizers are put on a great show, and being able to support that is good. I don't know what the Adepticon Legion event's going to look like, but I do have a hotel booked for that, so I haven't told my wife yet. I still need to work on that turn negative one for March.
Turn negative one, yeah.
So what I was gonna ask you here.
I want to hear about his games.
Oh, sure.
We actually haven't talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, you can skip the first one. I talked about that last week.
No, I mean, you know what? When we got paired together, I was grinning, just because I love playing against, not for that reason.
No, I know.
I couldn't have asked. I wanted to come down to SoCal to hang out with friends, and to be paired against you first round was like awesome. I get to hang out with one of my best Legion friends and play a game. So
absolutely,
it was super cool on that. And then when you just deployed those RTs out there, I got a twofer. I got to play with one of my best Legion friends and then eat up his activations early on.
Yep, absolutely. That was. It was. I hope you're hungry because I'm going to be feeding you. The first of many bad mistakes.
It was a fun game, and I really like your list. RTs aren't out there much, but they can be a real threat, and you had a real good thought on moving them around to block. And to block the space out. We were playing Recover the Supplies, which is something that I can handle in my list, but I definitely have to think about it, and I have to look for those kind of opponents' mistakes to take advantage of. So it was hardly a walk in the park for me. That middle, you had 2 points solidly throughout, and all of my boxes, including the center one, were under threat of fire for a lot of it. So bad variance could have easily wiped me out there. So
yeah, it was fun, and definitely it was a nice kind of like, oh, let's ease you back into playing a tournament game with somebody somebody you respect and like play against. So it was good. Definitely, hopefully, since we're going to be both staffing, maybe we can show up early and get a game in before LVO.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll be.
I don't know if you're bringing your stuff, but
I wasn't planning on it, but I'm driving out because I'm bringing a bunch of other stuff. So it's not. I could easily throw that bag in there, and we'll try to make it happen.
There you go.
If you want to borrow an army, I might have a few things lying around too.
That's too. Some people.
Yeah. And I have actually done that too. I think the first game I ever played in Power 9, I was out on a family vacation at my mother-in-law's, and I borrowed John's units to play a game against Dan, actually.
Oh yeah. He's not on headphones right now, but we'll relay the message.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That has to be awkward. Him sitting in the room staring at you guys, just not knowing what we're talking about.
He's playing phone games. It's fine.
Okay.
So how'd the rest of your games go?
Yeah. So the next, I had my victory over Matt, and I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens next. And I got paired against a guy named Al Paz, who I've known tangentially. He's a friend of the Stabcast, and I've seen him in. He's a traveling player, and a very talented player. Al's a great guy. He's got this just like quiet focus to him that I recognize as someone who is incredibly thoughtful and probably smarter and better at the game than me as a result. And he was running a Rexstar, and I actually don't know when the last time I played against Rexstar was, and certainly not with this list. So I was definitely sweating that one, and I think we were on stream, so it was what's going to happen. That one we set up as a hostage exchange. Oh right, this was a great example of turn zero can really set the difficulty on games, but it also reinforces what I think. I don't think that turn zero absolutely decides games. I think it sets the difficulty level. And I decided, hostage popped up in the third slot. Rexstar is going to take hostage because they can do the Rex tricks on the hostage and get that extra movement going. I thought only about my list and getting my hostage back, and I vetoed Long March, which Long March is the deployment in which it's the only deployment in which Rex can't pull that trick off with a hostage. So I set that difficulty hard on my end right off the bat, and I didn't realize it until deployment that, oh wow, I really shouldn't have done that. So what I did realize I needed to do is I needed to play a little more aggressively than I was going to originally, than I'd like to originally, and so I set it up with kind of my central core of my army, and then the barks off to one side to go run their kind of flanking maneuvers. And I was able to, I think either at the bottom of turn 1 or the top of turn 2, I was able to pick off one of his arc strikes and bring the activation count down. And then I got fortunate on some moment. Oh, that's right. I did split my barks. I had one that was out to kind of try to draw his deployment a little wider. And I was a little too aggressive with that, so I lost that one. So I needed to kill that strike team to even it out. And it was a tense game the whole time. It came down to the very end, and there was a point where I got the momentum to shift a little bit up on activations, and was able to be a little bit more aggressive with Anakin and some others to push into the center and take that one. So loved playing with Al, another kind of great player. I've seen him at a few different events. Glad I could get a first game with him. So
nice,
taking that one, yeah. Which set me up for the first time I'd ever been 2-0 going into a day. So, and I got paired against and I'm forgetting his real name off the top of my head. But his Discord handle is Tuner. I think he's an LA local. He's a little bit newer to the game. He's third during the pandemic. Awesome guy. Actually brought some responded to a Discord call out and helped out with some extra cables we needed for the streaming setup on the way in. He'd had a rough day. He had accidentally locked his keys in his car. And after unloading, I think AAA showed up just before a round started, or just late enough. So he was kind of all kind of recovering mentally from that kind of distraction, but playing a tough, I think it was 11 activation list that had a bus, fleet troopers, Sabine, Clan Ren, and then a bunch of rebel troopers and R2 in there. And we played Bombing Run. Yes. Bombing Run. And it was a bloody fight in the middle. I do think that I think that was the game where he had the misfortune of catching the full brunt of double exemplar standby sharing with an Overwatch RPS squad. I'm pretty sure there was one round where that phase 1 RPS with Overwatch put 3 full shots into the bus in the same round for their shot plus 2 standbys. And
wait a second, is Keegan a bad person?
I felt like
might
it a little
be
bit.
A bad person.
Yeah, there are points that I felt like it. And then after SoCal, realizing, wait a minute, double exemplar standby sharing, I'm just basically pre standby nerf clones. Is that make me a bad person?
Oh, you're paying the extra points for it. So.
Yeah. That's what I tell myself too.
Yeah.
But, now it was a great game, and there was a point where he was like, I probably could concede, but if you want to play it out, I'd love to play it out. I was like, hey man, I came down here to play games, so let's keep playing, and we finished out the game. It was great to get the full game in, and he's a great player. Can't wait to see what he does going forward as we get more events. And so then I got to. Holy crap! I made it to first time. The best I'd ever done was 2-2 at last LVO, and now I'm getting to day 2, top 8, and thinking about my life.
Thinking about going pro at that point.
Yeah. Thinking. Well, fast forward a few hours later, and you were there for this. Thinking, should I have this one last glass of whiskey?
That's funny. I don't remember that.
The answer is always yes.
Yeah. That could be a problem.
Well, the answer in the moment was yes.
Yes.
The answer in the morning was no. I should not have. But so you want me to just keep going?
Yeah,
day
please.
2. Yeah,
this is enthralling.
Yeah. So day 2, get in there. Get set up. I get paired against JD Nielsen, Gladiator on the Discord. Upcoming guest on Turn Zero lists.
Ooh,
Nice.
And he is playing a powerful list. Bus, Airspeeder, Cassian K2, Biston Pathfinders, Rebel Troopers, R2 and C3PO. I think.
wow.
Yeah.
That's almost the same list Lupo ran too. It's a
Oh, is it?
just like a little bit of everything.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was we set up, that was intercept the transmissions, danger close, and I forget the third, probably limited visibility. Because I tried to get limited whenever I could, and I feel like that's what that was that game. This was against this list. I knew that this was going to be a tough one. One, it was top 8 game. He'd obviously done really well the day before. Two, that there's just so much in this list. Oh, there were Wookiees. Yeah, I forgot the Wookiees. So big beefy list. A lot of stuff going on. The entire day one for Padme's 3-pip, I always just defaulted to playing that the first round to get the reliable effect. I never divulged it. And I thought about it a couple of times after the fact. Coming into this game, looking at it, especially with danger close as the deployment, I decided to divulge her 3-pip, which gives her the secret mission and infiltrate option.
Interesting.
And yeah, I did it not necessarily. I did it primarily so that I would threaten secret mission on the deployment, not necessarily for the rest of the game. And what I think that did, maybe it just happened to work out this way, was on the 2 forks of the danger close. It did cause him to split his forces maybe a little bit more than he would have normally, because as you know, Matt, my list, when I can get things isolated and start knocking down the activations, that's where my list kind of starts to be able to shine. It's important to get that done early. So I didn't want to have, with so many threats in that army, I didn't want to have too much threat saturation coming my way. I wanted to do what I could. So dropped her, divulged her, didn't deploy her till much later, and actually only deployed her a little bit ahead of my line, kind of towards the safe intercept point. We first couple of rounds, the bus got in there pretty fast, and we were dancing around the standby ranges and all that stuff. But then I got a couple of good shots in. I took the bus down, and then I was able to take the Wookiees down on the way in. The airspeeder, meanwhile, was making a threat towards my flank and towards where Padme was, and I got her hidden under some line of sight terrain from the angle he was coming at, so that he wasn't going to be able to get in and get a shot on her without taking a standby shot. And he did a really smart move and basically didn't bite into the sunk cost fallacy and turn the airspeeder around instead of to come back another way in a couple later rounds, which was it can be really hard with only 6 rounds in a game like this to decide not to pursue a tactic that you're doing like that, especially with the speeder unit where it feels committed. And huge credit to JD on that decision, pulling that back, because
you want to use that gun whenever you can, but like you said, sometimes it's better just to wheel around and go some other way.
Yes. And what he did by that was he got that back in the game to threat saturate along with Cassian and K2, who I honestly forgot how much of a pain in the ass they were. I was feeling really good about taking down the bus and the Wookiees, and then I still had to chew through Pathfinders, Cassian, K2, and an airspeeder. So that one was really, really tight. Kind of fast forwarding towards the end, it was really near the end, and it came down to kind of dancing around the intercept. I was able to get Anakin into the center point with enough kind of reinforcements to play the push trick and knock one of his scoring units out of the intercept point, which either tied us up or gave me the point on that turn. And then I had enough time to get the rest of my forces down in there to be just overwhelming in that space. So a lot of good plays. He kept it really, really close the entire time. There was no point where I felt like, oh yeah, I've got this up until the end, to include him like picking off individual unit leaders really wisely. So I had to adjust my intercept scoring plans and all that stuff. So
JD's a guy who we've played a couple times here. He's a St. George, Utah local.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So we've played a couple games. He's come down for some local tournaments and stuff. And yeah, he's another guy like you that's like start like basically become one of the top players just through like a lot of reps and just playing a lot of games. So props to him too for making the top the second day top 8.
Yeah, he did great. He played like I was I was actively sweating hard. Like
that wasn't the hangover, right?
Yeah, right.
No, not entirely. Yeah, it was. He played. He knew his list really well. He knew what it was doing. Just like you said, that comes from reps. That comes from focus. And he's got some of the kind of popular pieces in there, but he's got Bist and Pathfinders in there too. I'm going to respect someone who brings that. And he played them well too, whipping that Ion around. So,
wow. It's nice that you can respect the Pathfinders, even though you're going apostate and leaving the Church of Biston. But
yeah,
it's still, respect where it's due.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So last game.
All right. So last game, I get top 4. Again, clearly, I'm now on my second or third order of first times at an event. So feeling confident. I get paired against Snyder, who I know I think I was Snyder's judge in this last Invader League, his group judge in last Invader League. Snyder goes 5-0 in Invader League. He's in round robins. He's a solid player. And he plays. He's another one who he knows the hell out of his lists and plays them very pristinely. Sometimes makes mistakes, but he's very pristine in his play. And so I knew I was going to have to bring my total A game, and I did not right off the bat. He was running a triple stap Maul single B2 list, and then Tac Droid and B1s in the background, and the cards flipped, and I made 3 critical errors. One, I out of the 3 choices, I chose the one. I think it was payload, bombing run, then hostage. I have always had a poor relationship with payload, and it's a personal problem. I should actually just play the objective and learn how to play it. But I vetoed payload, which gave him total choice. Did he want to do bombing run or hostage? He vetoed bombing run and went to hostage. If in retrospect, I should have recognized that, especially against that list, my list wants the opponent to come to me, and I don't want to give the opportunity of running a hostage away, because then I have to chase it. So that was my first big mistake. My second big mistake was I didn't read the damn card again, and so after on four games straight, at least one too many whiskeys the night before, I fell into that trap that really gets a lot of people in like these long tournaments, and it's just kind of the exhaustion. The mistakes come in from the exhaustion, and there's a level of endurance and being able to keep your focus and remember all the things and not make mistakes in that longer term that pays off. And the huge mistake that I made was I, for some reason, had it in my head that the hostage rules were about attacks and melee, and I've completely forgot immune enemy effects applied to everything. So I had an entire deployment and turn 1 strategy based on being able to double move Anakin and push his hostage into melee with me. Yeah. So that's not something you can do, folks.
If it makes you feel better, I learned that game 1
nice.
of this tournament. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So I not only did I set up and not have that kind of game winning move to do, I set it up so that his hostage unit, a fully loaded unit of B2s with the HA in there, was at range 2 of my entire army, and especially my white save Padme. And he's got a tac droid, so he doesn't have to. I guess AI attack would have been fine for him, but so turn 1, he put 5 wounds onto Padme with his hostage unit, and then finished her off the next round, I think, with a stab. So that Padme is a real linchpin to my list. So losing her early, I really needed to the third mistake I did was I need to get aggressive sooner than I did, and I think turn 3 I did a move dodge with Anakin when I should have moved him, because the only way I was going to win that game, I actually had my hostage pretty safe and secure because he was doing a runaway thing. I could do a runaway thing. The only way I was going to win that was getting Anakin in and turn 6 killing that his hostage carrier with the timing right to knock it out, and I didn't move fast enough. Anakin was about one move behind, getting where he needed to be to tie them up for the last few rounds. So great game, great lessons learned. You can watch all of that misery, although probably less of it the second half, because the streamers switched to switching to watching the other more interesting game on the Gavin base. But yeah, so you know what, 4-1, top 4. Lupo and I did rock paper scissors for who got to take home the General Grievous third place trophy. So I've got a nice Grievous trophy, but top 4 out of that. We did have the judges monitor it. I like to think that playing rock paper scissors with my 5-year-olds really prepared me for that last one.
It's all about those reps, you know.
Yeah, it really is about the reps.
Have you been practicing your rock? Is that what you went with?
Yeah. It's all about staring him in the eyes and like communicating I'm going to do rock and then hitting him with paper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Little rope-a-dope there.
Yeah. No, that was a lot of fun. And then that was, so you know, I'm super happy with where I'm at now. I'm really enjoying how this list plays. It's got the nice feeling of it's one of my kind of style lists, but it's not a one trick pony. I've got at least 3 in there that I can flex around to, and I think I've got plenty more reps to do to learn the list. Even now.
You just got 13 free points got freed up by the new RRG, right?
I did. Yeah. I got 13 points. They've already been spent.
What'd you buy?
Yeah. It's not just 13 points, but Anakin got some good buffs, especially on his 2-pip. So his 2-pip now gives an extra order, which is really nice in a fire support focus list. It gives him defend 1. So after his 2-pip is played for the rest of the game, whenever he gets an order and Anakin wants an order, he's getting a dodge token right off the bat, which is really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
As far as what I bought, I put offensive push on the clone commander because sometimes I want him to move, but I like him having a token. And with the standby stuff, I wasn't sharing a lot of tokens amongst the clones in this list. It's an exemplar focus sharing list, but getting that extra aim for one of the RPS standbys or one of the other shots is a nice add. I also put Seize the Initiative on Padme, which is going to be really helpful in Anakin 1-pip turns, getting an order on her so that I can get Anakin off the bat at like I have to with his card, but then I can immediately go with Padme to get that standby out there to make Anakin continue to be a threat. And what else did I do? Oh man, my brain just dumped.
It'll probably change before the next time you play it anyway.
It might. I mean, not before Thursday, but I am getting a Veterans Day game in this week. But yeah, it was. I think it has something to do with the RPS. I did something screwy with them.
But you kind of created a blueprint, I think, for a lot of people going forward, because a lot of people are talking about how the clones are dead, Republic is dead. Well, no, you just need to learn how to adjust some things. I think Exemplar is going to be kind of the way that token sharing works in the future.
I think there's going to be a lot coming back on Exemplar, and I am glad that I actually got an opportunity to play this in the pre-RRG, because I want this to be successful in the before times as well, so that it's even more. Oh, it was targeting scopes. I put targeting scopes on the RPS just to get that extra dice roll on those to use all those aims. So, awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think that the traditional way of entirely leaning on the clone trooper keyword is gonna kind of fade away, but I think that there's so much opportunity for creative Republic play that the changes open up. I'm really looking forward to it. So
awesome. Yep. Yes, it is awesome. But Keegan, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on the big show there. And where can people find you? You're out and about.
I am a little bit out and about. Thank you. Well, first off, it's a pleasure to come back here every time. So thank you again.
Oh, you're always welcome.
Yeah, you can find me on our on 2 podcasts on same feed, Legion 99. If you get on, that's out on any wherever you can find podcasts, and then I also host a smaller mini cast called Turn Zero Lists. You all have been on it. Some of my favorite guests, and open if anyone wants to be a guest on that show, reach out to me. And then I also co-own a small establishment called 6 Up Supply, where you can find some fun, exciting. You may hear about it during a break on this show sometimes.
Maybe.
Yeah, lots of little tokens. And if you haven't seen our Force Flasks, our newest products, about it's a lightsaber. It's a laser sword with a flask inside of it. So.
For more inadvisable whiskey at the end of the day.
Yeah. But yeah, totally cosplay accurate. We've got 4 different models from all your favorite laser sword wielders out there. So.
That's a great idea for when they close the bar down before you finish your last game.
Absolutely. There were it was top 2 at SoCal. Walked away with some. I know that there's going to be some down at LVO as well. So
awesome, John. Where can we find you?
I am at Outrider_John on Instagram.
Okay. Dan can be found on the Discord as Outrider Dan. You can find me on Twitter at @GRN_Archer or on my Twitch channel at Captain_Archer. Otherwise, thank you, everybody. Thanks to our Patreons for making this show possible. If you would like to support the show, you can head to patreon.com/Legion Outriders. Otherwise, we'll see you next episode.
Quick shout out to Keegan. Happy Marine Corps birthday.
Hurrah.
This concludes the current episode of the Legion Outriders podcast. You may cultivate a tactical advantage by observing the Outriders on Facebook or Twitter at Legion Outriders. Wisdom advocates subscribing to the podcast. Acting otherwise is reckless.